Hi everyone, Chris Natsky here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. You know, one of my favorite quotes comes from Mark Twain when he said, "I've been through some terrible things in my life, some of which actually happened." It always makes me chuckle when I think about that, because how many times in our lives are we caught in worry of anticipation of bad things happening, and it ruins the present moment and also ruins even the results that we can get. And I know I speak from personal experience here. Several years ago, a guy by the name of Dr. Robert Leahy wrote a book called The Worrier Cure. And what he did is he had this study of several people that came to him, and what he found was, very distinctively, is that 97% of the things that people identified they were worried about either A, never happened, or B, when they happened, they weren't as bad as they thought they were going to be. So the question is, how would you live your life if you knew that to be true? If you knew that 97% of the things you worried about were never going to negatively affect you? So it's one thing to identify that. There's another thing, what do you do about it? What do you do when you find yourself in a very worrisome state? So I gave some thought to this and I wanted to share this with you. These are some strategies that I've used throughout the years and developed when I get in that state of worry. And hopefully you'll find them useful as well. So the first thing is, there's 6 of them. The first thing is when you find yourself in worry, is take some time to breathe. I know you've probably heard that many, many times. Take time, be calm, breathe. And when you're in that worried state, sometimes it's the toughest thing to do. In fact, that's a physiological thing that happens in our body. When we feel under threat, when we feel under stress, we start to shorten our breath, our chest tighten. But what people is from the far reaches of transcendent yogis all the way to United States Special Forces have learned that breathing, and breathing very intentionally, helps them calm and get into a creative mindset. And they do it through what's called box breathing. So that's taking an inhale to a count of 4, holding it for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4, and then holding for a count of 4, and repeating that cycle at least 5 times. And what you'll find is your brain will begin to settle, your mind will settle, and now you can start moving into creative mode to solve a problem that you might have. Strategy number 2, take time to write it down. There's some crazy stuff going on up there when we start to get in worry. And I don't know about you, but when I start to ponder about things that are bothering me, and some might call it obsess, I start to go off in all different ways of all the tragic things that are going to happen. But a strategy that I've learned to do is when I write down what I perceive is happening, all the bad things I think that might be occurring, and after I get that all out of my system, then what I do is I write down what's really happening. Like, what are just the facts, ma'am? So if you're worried about finances, or if you're worried about a conversation, or if you're worried about stress at work, get the story out, but then talk about, or just write down what's really happening. Because when you identify what's really happening, now can be a problem that can be solved. Next, as I go down my list here, number 3 is determine what you can control and what you can't. I mean, when you look at any problem, those are the only 2 options we have: things that we can control and things that we can't. And the things we can't control, it really doesn't give us any additional firepower if we focus our attentions there. And when you focus on the things you can control, what ends up now is you can start thinking creatively, and it's putting yourself in a mindset of a challenge versus a problem. So when you're in that creative mindset and you're like, wow, I have confidence now, this is the one thing I can't control, now you start looking at ways you can deal with that and let go of what you can't. Number 4 is imagine your success. So I know that sometimes that's difficult to do, but I had a teacher tell me one time that if you're going to fantasize, you might as well win, right? And great athletes know this as well. Before you go on the competition field, when I was getting ready to step in the ring as a taekwondo competitor, I wasn't visualizing about the things that could go wrong. I was visualizing about the things I could do well, about how I was going to score on my opponent, how I was going to handle the match. So that the same thing happens with us, is imagine the things going well. Imagine yourself winning. Imagine yourself overcoming the challenge. Number 5 is simple. Take action. So how many times have you had a situation where you felt excited to do some movement and decided to take some steps, and you said, you know what, I'll get to that tomorrow. And then you woke up the next day and the enthusiasm wasn't there, and then you didn't take action at all. So what champions understand is when they have a challenge and they identify what it is, they go for it. they go for it and they take action, even if it's a small action, because those small actions over time can lead to big, big results. And then finally, step number 6 is just let it go and trust it's going to be okay. Once you have done everything you can do, now it's time to just relax, let it go, continue to focus on taking steps ahead, and know that you're always going to be taken care of. I mean, think about all the times in your life when you have had worry and how things have turned out. And I can almost guarantee that 9 times out of 10, they turned out just okay. So there are my 6 strategies for overcoming worry. Play with these. If you have some success with them, let me know. If you've got some challenges, let me know. Please share this if you think other people would benefit from it. And you too can move from being a worrier to being a warrior. We'll see you next time. Oh, and by the way, keep a lookout next week for my special Black Belt Friday special offer. All right, we'll see you next time.